Welcome to Peter and Ruffy's Football Show. The main talking points on tonight's programme. We'll look at Ross County against Hearts. The SFA are considering changing the way they make the draw for the Scottish Cup, and Fraser Wishart is calling on the SFA to stop clubs putting in shoddy plastic pitches. That's just a few of the topics we'll be discussing. Alan Ruff is alongside me, Peter Martin, and I'm delighted that St Mirren striker David Clarkson is with us here in the studio to talk all things football. So first and foremost, lots of things to talk about, including of course Tom Boyd was out speaking as an ambassador for Celtic alongside Davy Hay. A good choice from the club. He's also mentioned, Ruffy, that some people suggesting Ronnie Dyler should be getting the sack while he's still in for the double is complete and utter nonsense.
Yeah, as you would imagine, Tommy, being an ambassador, that's the right things to do. They're trying to get the supporters back on board. I don't think it's all the supporters, it's just a small number are not happy. Not happy about not the league or anything like that. It's Europe. It's a Europe where the problems, the high expectations of being a Celtic player and a Celtic supporter is they want to be playing against the top clubs all the time, and that hasn't happened for the last couple of years. And I think the majority, that's what they're complaining about. I think if they finished up with the league and a cup double, the majority would be happy, and then the European games would come around again, and it gives them a chance for some success.
What about just the league?
Just the league, no. I think expectations when you're at a big club, they expect everything that's on the table, and I think they'll be happy with the league, but I think they'll be disappointed if it's not the double.
Interesting times. You can give us your thoughts at Peter and Ruffy on Twitter, facebook.com/Peter and Ruffy as well, and you can go to peterandruffy.com and offer your thoughts on what Tom Boyd had to say yesterday. Up to the here and now, David Clarkson is our guest. David, delighted to have you here in the studio, and obviously from your own point of view, delighted to be playing football again with St Mirren. How have you found it 2 weeks in?
Yeah, it's good. You know, from a personal point of view, I had to go out and play games, so you know, I loved it at Motherwell, and you know, it was good having all the boys back, and obviously Matt McGee coming in as well, so it was kind of like old times, you know, and I've been enjoying it. But of course I want to be playing football, so it's good to get away and get some game times. You know, you work hard, you know, every week, and then come a Saturday, if you're not playing, it's a bit disappointing, so it's good to get, you know, my boots back on, so to see, on a Saturday, and get that feeling, you know, that you want to be kind of, you know, part of something, and being part of either a winning side or a side that obviously if you're losing it's no good, but you know, to have an impact basically on a Saturday.
Yeah, I mean, last season you came out of the traps flying. It was 8 goals, 8 games, everybody absolutely raving about what Dundee were doing. Is it possibly because you're at an age where you need to be kicking the ball rather than, you know, staying at Dundee and thinking, okay, I'm going to battle it out with what effectively is, 3-4 really good strikers up there too? Yeah,
of course. Everyone wants to play, but the same, the older you get, and the same my contract's up at the end of the season, so if you're not playing, it's, you know, a lot harder, you know, when you kind of get to, you know, 29, 30 years of age. If you're not playing as well, then people are asking, why is he not playing? Has he still got his legs? Is he still fit? So, you know, and all the things that I'm still fit, I'm still healthy and still able to do a great job, so I had to get out playing, you know, and like that at Motherwell as well. I'm kind of, you know, Scott McDonald's doing well, Lewis Moult was doing well, so it was kind of, you know, hoping, you know, there would come a time there maybe, you know, something would kind of give, but you know, how long do you wait? You know, you can wait a full season, not get a chance, so I had to go out and play, and hopefully it'll benefit me, you know, and go and show what I can do.
Yeah, we've put a wee bit of pressure on your gaffer. We've said we reckon you can get to number 4 in that league in a playoff place. Is that, I mean, after the win against Queen of the South, which I think shows that, you know, Alec is really making an impression in there.
Yeah, of course. Again, he's only been in probably a few weeks. So he's kind of getting to grips with the boys and trying to find out the formations and the players they can play and where they play. So, you know, it's kind of riding the storm a wee bit. You know, they're wanting to progress and get up the table as you can, but we can't get above ourselves. You know, we've got to keep going and getting the results, you know, and working hard, and the results come, like Saturday. You know, the Queen of the South game is, you know, it was a tough game, but we dug it out. You know, and maybe a game, maybe a few weeks ago before the gaffer came in, would have lost, you know, or conceded and end up drawing the game. So, you know, he's doing the right things. We're going the right way. You know, so I think that's an important thing. And you know, hopefully again we play Queen of the South on Saturday again. We can get a good few results and start looking up the way rather than what's below us.
Yeah. What do you think about the standard in that division, and do you see a great gap between where you were playing in the Premiership and where you're playing now?
It's hard to tell now. First game was Alloa, who obviously were struggling at the bottom of the league, but again they came and they looked to play a bit. It was a tough game for us again. In the same Queen of the South, who again looked at a good side, and it was a hard game for us. So I need to get used to the league as well and find out the teams and the way they want to play, and the same the defenders and every other opposition really. So it's hard to tell now after just 2 games the difference between the 2 leagues now, but I'm sure I'll come to terms with it soon.
Yeah, you're probably indicative of what the modern 21st century footballer has to endure. No longer, when you're early in your career, you get maybe 2 and 3 year deals. When you get to that age of about 29, 30, Fraser Wisher of the PFA is always mentioning players now are now looking at 1 year deals in some cases. I mean, how difficult do you find that when you have to adapt?
Well, I found it difficult before I joined Dundee. Obviously, I came back from down south with obviously the last few years at Bristol Rovers. So when I came up, I was in at Motherwell on trial, a bit at Kilmarnock and St Johnstone. So and then eventually Dundee. So for me, coming up, that was a difficult time for me. I think it was 3 or 4 weeks into the season before I ended up signing for Dundee. So that was the hard bit coming up and having to prove yourself again. Really, no matter where you've been or what you've done. If you've not been playing or kind of not been in the limelight, then people ask questions. So the same, it'll be the same for me this year. I'm out of contract. Hopefully, something comes up quicker than it did a few years back. And again, that's why I went to try and play games to try and put myself, let people know what I can do, whether it be Motherwell again or St Mirren or another club. But you've got to keep going. You can't let it affect you, because you can easily just kind of down tools, and I've seen a few boys say, well, it's hard to get a club now when you get to this age, or for me, I've kept going, and Dundee eventually signed me, and started well, and was in fire then, and Motherwell again this season kind of snapped me up, kind of quite quick. So that was good, but hopefully this year again I'm not left with going into the season 2 and 3 weeks not knowing what's happening.
Yeah, I mean, to think you moaned as well when you were getting a 6-year deal off Partick Thistle, Ruffy. Eh?
Yeah, it was a 6-year deal. Was a 6-year deal with a 6-year option, which made it 12 years that you could never talk your way out of. But no, it's good that David's coming up. And I was going to say to him, we keep hearing about all our young players wanting to go down to England. You tried it. Is it something you would recommend for them to try, or should they try and get as many games up here before they do it, before they jump down there?
I think if you get the chance to go down south to do it, if you're playing up here, you're going to get the chance. If you're not playing, you might not get the chance. But I was the same. I was quite a homely boy. I loved it in Motherwell at the time. I was young, I had my family around me, and I thought, there's no chance I'll move away. I love it here. But when the opportunity came up, the same. It was hard to say no. So you learn a lot from it. You kind of grow up a bit. For me, it was the first time away from my family, and I just got married in the summer, so obviously me and the wife moved away. So it's great, for me anyway. We were at Bristol and lucky enough to be at a good club, and a lot of the boys there as well. I knew a few of the boys, Jamie McAllister and Ivan Sproul, so they looked after us as well. But I think if you get the opportunity to move away down south or possibly abroad, whatever, then I think take it, because it's a learning experience if anything for them.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to talk more to David Clarkson, personally and of course professionally at St Mirren, and his hopes for the future. Ruffy, just before we head to the break, no surprise the SFA are considering a change to the way they conduct the draw. I think we might eventually move over to the numbers, albeit we hope the right numbers relate to the teams that they're pulling out.
Yeah, I think we've learned a lesson that opening the twisted balls is just a recipe for disaster. And get back to the numbers, because just remember that they are sealed. You can't, whoever's picking them out can't see them. You're sticking your hand in. Yeah. So the number seems an easy way out, but it was an unfortunate situation. Yeah,
I think if anything, that type of thing can happen, Ruffy. The main criticism, I think, is the embarrassment of the way it's projected and our image, which takes another hammering, not only in British shows but further afield.
Yeah, and that, unfortunately that's the way it came across. because it was comical. I mean, if you weren't involved with it, you know. But yeah, I mean, Lubick standing there, I don't think he knew what to do. You know, I mean, it is I think the fortunate thing about it was somebody made a decision, you know, to stop it. You know, because if we'd continued it could have become really farcical.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know how much more farcical it could have become.
Well, his hand could have got stuck in it.
I never contemplated that, Robbie. Anyway, we're going to talk plastic pitches after the break. We'll discuss Ross County against Hearts, among other things. Join us. David Clarkson's our boot room guest. Welcome back to Peter and Ruffy's football show. Alan Ruff is alongside me. Peter Martin, our boot-room guest, is St Mirren striker David Clarkson. Delighted to have him with us here in the studio. And of course, we'll get a professional player's viewpoint on plastic pitches, because Fraser Wishart of the PFA has been talking, Ruffy, about the SFA asking them really to try and stop clubs putting down shoddy artificial pitches, because obviously if we get to the point where more and more clubs start to embrace this type of artificial surface, some people are going to look to cut costs. Yeah, and we all know that there are quality pitches. There are people who maintain it and upgrade it. Obviously the finance comes into it a lot, and people don't want to start naming names, but yeah, I mean, you're either for it, you're not. And I listen to interviews after the games now, and a lot of people aren't. You know, a lot of managers don't like it. They use it as an excuse. And I think you've just got to get your head round it. The people who have got it for a reason. But I wouldn't like to think the top clubs would go down that road, because I think first and foremost you want to play on grass. Yeah, before I ask you the question, I'm about to invoke what I call the Callum Higginbotham clause, which is in the summer, I don't want you to join a club with an artificial pitch and then have to go backtracking, David. But, do you get the feeling that the majority of footballers, including yourself, are fans of it if it's top drawer, or are you still an old traditionalist?
I'm an old traditionalist, really, but the game changes all the time. You know, you see it, and there's going to be a lot more probably pitches coming in, artificial ones. But as you say, it depends how good they are. What standard they're at. 'Cause I think obviously the Falkirk pitch, I think gets a good write up, whereas the other kind of clubs maybe not as good. So, but I think if you ask any footballer, I'd rather be on grass. But as I said, I think you've just got to kind of get your head round it. It's going to be there, and unless they come in and try and scrap it altogether, but you just got to deal with it and go on with it. Sometimes it works for you, sometimes you say if it's not working, you'll use it as an excuse. Then you're going to have people that kind of are for it and people that are against it. Yeah, my biggest problem sometimes, Ruffy, is if it's not treated properly. I mean, there's a maintenance aspect to it, which I think everybody gets, but sometimes if you allow them to dry out, I think that's when footballers are more susceptible to picking up injuries, especially around the knee. Yeah, you can see, in certain games that with both sides that there are definitely players who are comfortable on it, but there are definitely players who are not comfortable on it at all. You can just see the way they're running. And when we get to the point of players like the boy McLean, no, we won't be playing him this week because it's that pitch. I don't think. I mean, as a footballer, you want to play in every game that's coming up. You don't want to be left out because, for whatever reason, you can't play on these pitches. Yeah. Did you not want to say there that some players who've got a poor touch, Ruffy, don't like artificial surfaces? I don't think it's a poor touch. I just think in particular, defenders in particular, I don't think are comfortable, with guys with a bit of pace coming at them, and they just look awkward when they're trying to turn. And we all know that the ball does take some funny bounces, but as David said, if that's what you've got to play and you've got to get your head round it and just get on with it. Yeah. Where were you at your happiest? Where were you playing your best football that you enjoyed? Probably at Motherwell, under Matt McGee when he first came in a few years back. Again, kind of a young player coming through and stuff and that, and no worries, just enjoying my football. So I think that, it's all cliche, people say it all the time, but when you're young, you've got to enjoy it, you know, and people tell me that. I can remember people telling me that and thinking the same. This will last forever, but
Yeah.
I'm now at the stage the same. I'm saying to boys, you know, you need to enjoy it and kind of, you know, do your best and, you know, commit to it and stuff. And, you know, that was so as a young kid coming through, it was, you know, brilliant for me.
Yeah, you mentioned Mark McGee there. Do you get the feeling that he'll be able to turn it around second time around at Motherwell?
I think so. Yeah, I think that when he came in, you know, a few months back, he tried to get his stamp on the way he wants to do things very quickly, which you need to do because it was completely different to obviously what Barraclough was trying to do. So he's got his own way. All the managers the same, and I think the same. He got the results he was looking for. Went a good run as soon as he came in, and I think he can still, you know, get the best out of the boys. You know, he's good man of management and that as well, and you know, he can get boys going, and I think the same. I think he'll do the same with Motherwell this time.
Yep, there's a game on tonight, Robbie, Ross County against Hearts. I like sometimes, I think Robbie Nielsen's good copy, certainly for the boys in the back pages. You know, it's that kind of he's maybe not the most excitable guy if you're interviewing him on television, but he certainly gives you some good lines. And the one about the Hibs players enjoying playing Sunshine and Leith, if they're happy with a draw at Tynecastle. It's just a nice little thinly veiled swipe, which sets it up nicely for the replay, doesn't it?
Yeah, it certainly does, and again, it's just a bit of football banter. You know, you could see Robbie's face at the final whistle at the weekend. He was absolutely fuming, and he was up that tunnel as quick as anybody, trying to get your head round a game that they should have won. And the Hibs players been players, you know, any wind-up, any chance you get for a wind-up against your biggest rivals, why not?
Yeah, absolutely. That's what we like. We like a bit of banter in football. Ross County against Hearts. You'll have played against both sides. What do you make of them and the contrast in the styles?
I mean, Ross County are kind of, you know, doing very well now, kind of good, and a hard team to play against. You know, they're a good, honest bunch. They work hard, they get about their business well, and you know, they're hard to break down. Once you get in front, you've seen it probably 19 times this season, that everyone wants to work for everybody, and again, work for the manager, and he's got that installed in him. So again, that's I think a good, you know, mentality to have, you know, in the game. And the same Hearts, a good physical side, the same with their, you know, the flair players as well, kind of wide players and stuff, and obviously the boy Solo at the time as well, who's a big player for them, obviously, again, if he's not be there. So it'll be an interesting games. I think two teams that are kind of, you know, in kind of good form now, and it'll be a good game.
Yeah, do you see them? I mean, sometimes they get that tag of being, I mean, some have suggested they're physical, bordering on dirty, but you mentioned the flair there in them. I mean, do you have to literally, if you're going to win against them, out-muscle them?
Probably, yeah, you know, because it's the same. If a team like that, like Hearts and stuff, I mean, we played them a few weeks back and they hammered us at Tynecastle, unfortunately, but when they get in front the same, they're physical and they get about their business, and you know, it can be hard, you know, hard sometimes to go and play against, you know, a weekend, and you know, getting rattled all the time, you know, which is football. But the same, they've got that ability to go and, you know, with their wide players and stuff to get at you and stuff and create stuff as well. So it's not just a case of lump the ball forward and, you know, go and challenge all the time. So it's getting the balance right, and you know, Hearts kind of seem to have that balance where they've got the physicality as well as the kind of, you know, the more flair players available to them as well.
Yeah, Wes Fotheringham, the Rangers goalkeeper, was out talking today, Ruffy. He reckons that they will indeed need a fair bit of strengthening. Certainly the squad needs a bit of meat and bones around it, Rangers, if they do go up to the Premiership next season, which looks more than likely.
Yeah, he's not the first Rangers player to come out with that. You know, I think they've all had a chance to see St Johnstone. They've obviously saw Kilmarnock and even Falkirk and Hibs, you know, and they'll know what they need. You know, I think the Rangers supporters are just in tenterhooks what quality of players that they're going to get. You know, they keep bringing up the 30 million that Mr King says he's going to provide. So it'll be interesting to see where the players are identified from and what quality they are, because I think Rangers supporters, being Rangers supporters, will want to be top six. They want to be challenging. They want to be trying to get into Europe. So I think they're right. You know, 5 or 6 quality players might get them there.
Yeah, do you see how I hesitated there and said more than likely just to try and stem the flow of Hibs tweets that I'm getting at the moment? There's more than enough. I don't want to give them an extra excuse to keep tweeting me for the whole week. Okay, here's a good point that I think referees deserve a bit of credit for. We're forever at times seemingly bashing referees. Bobby Madden called Andy Halliday and said, look, I got it wrong, sorry for sending you off. I think that was a nice touch.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I think as players or as managers or as whatever, that's what you're looking for. You know, if you think that the referee made the wrong decision and then the referee comes back and says, right, you know, if he holds his hand up, then you know, that's what you're looking for, to say, right, I got it wrong. You can accept that, then you can go on with it. You know, sometimes they keep quiet, then it can kind of linger on a wee bit. You know, and you keep talking about it. Can this happen? Should have that happened? So the fact that he's obviously done that, I think, again, speaks volumes for him to hold his hands up. You know, maybe a lot of referees wouldn't do that. So credit to him, kind of, you know, coming out and saying that he got it wrong.
Yeah, I think players like that communication, respect.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. We always hear the players saying that there isn't respect, there isn't a sort of a one-to-one on the park, and I think if we could get back to that the players can talk to each other, the better.
Yep, absolutely. Listen, it's been a joy speaking to David Clarkson. Certainly, David, we hope you do well with St Mirren and indeed get a club for the future. Thanks to David for joining us on the programme. From Ruffy and myself, join us tomorrow at 7 if you can. Good night.